Hi, welcome to our every other Thursday live streaming on Facebook. I'm Tom Laskowski, Director of Midwest Native Skills, and we're coming to you every other Thursday with different topics. For those of you new joining us, welcome. Just to give you a brief overview, I do this every Thursday for the new people, just to give you a little bit about the school. We're a wilderness survival outdoor school. We teach non-military survival. I always say we love our military, but the military tends to teach outdoor survival and self-reliance with equipment. We do it more like the Native Americans or the pioneers, just with nature, what nature provides and what skills you acquired and have in your head. So I like equipment, but if that goes away or you don't have it or it breaks, it's always nice to have a backup. So that's what we teach here. We have a few classes coming up. Next weekend we have an edible medicinal plant class, and I should tell you that we're located just 10 miles south of Cleveland, Ohio. The Saturday class is all filled. That's on the 18th, but there are still some openings on Sunday the 19th. And that's our topic today, some of the edibles we're going to be talking about in that class. The following weekend we have our family camping. That's designed for people that want to get back into camping. They might not know or be comfortable with camping, and they have a lot of questions like how to even start a fire, how to make s'mores, how to pitch a tent, how to make a fire in the rain, what kind of sleeping bag should I be getting. So we're going to have a family camp out. Information's on our website, survivalschool.com, and that'll be that weekend. And the following weekend, the last weekend of the month, we have our Weekend Survival 101 class. And that's, we supply everything for you, including the food, and we'll teach you all the basics of how to survive in the wilderness. So with those ads out of the way and my introduction finished, I'd like to tell you a little bit about what we're talking about today. And today we're talking about wild edibles, and basically we're talking about weeds. People always ask us, do we have a gardening class? And up to now we don't. But we do have our edible medicinal plant class, and our garden, somebody once said that nature provides you a garden. What they don't tell you, that it's 300 miles long and set seasonally. And that's very true. There's all kind of plants out there, mostly weeds, that have high nutritional value that people just don't know about. Two of the ones that we're talking about today is a weed that's up this time of year called Purslane, and another one that's up in the spring, but it's flourishing now. It's called wood sorrel. If you're from down south, you might know it better by its other name of sourgrass. Reason I picked these two is because after the broadcast, I'm going to be posting the recipes we're going to be going through on our Facebook page, and you can probably go out in your backyard, find both of these weeds, and you can make these dishes this weekend for your family, and have a little family get-together, have a little family project, and make something good to eat. So with that said, let's talk a little bit about the purslane. Purslane is a weed that I'm sure you're familiar with. Mainly, you probably relate it to growing in the cracks of driveways. Can you put this up close to the camera so they can see it, Cheryl? You have to look to see where the camera is. That's what purslane is. It has a reddish stem. Like I said, grows in cracks of driveways. If that's not a good picture, after our broadcast, you can always go to Google and type in purslane, and it's spelled P-U-R-S-L-A-N-E. That's P-U-R-S-L-A-N-E, purslane.
What kind of spiders out?
And if you take some of it and eat it, it has a slight lemony taste. And it's a little succulent, so it tastes pretty good. People have been eating this for years. And I think we have a comment up there.
No.
Nope. I'm sure you're all familiar with Henry David Thoreau and his book Walden. He published in 1854. I just have a little quote from him on page 67 of Walden. And he says, and I quote, and he was building his cabin at this time on Walden Pond. I've made a satisfactory dinner, satisfactory on several accounts, simply have a dish of purslane, which I gathered in my cornfield, boiled, and salted. So if it's good enough for Henry David Thoreau, I think it's good enough for me. So you take this plant, like I said, you can eat it right out of the ground. This was growing in our garden, right next to the tomato plants. In fact, next week at our plant class, we'll have some of the students help weed our garden, and this will be one of our appetizers. So what you do, you take the purslane, and basically you break it up, chop it up till it's very fine, like this, and you want to put it in a dry frying pan. By dry frying pan, I mean dry, nothing in it, no oil, nothing at all. Let me turn on the burner. This is my first attempt at being one of those chefs you see on Sunday morning. Okay, on low heat, and I'll give you some good views of that. And what we want to do, there's, like I said, it's a very succulent plant, so there's a lot of moisture in it. So you want to do this to get some of the moisture out. So you want to wilt some of this. I use the leaves, but I also use some of the stems. You can use both. Or if you're picky, you can just use the leaves. Anybody out there ever tried purslane? Or does it look familiar? Turn up the heat a little bit. And just keep moving it around, and you'll see it'll kind of wilt very shortly. Takes about a minute or two. Purslane is very high in omega-3 fatty acids, also very high in iron. In fact, purslane has more iron than the same amount of spinach. So a lot of times you'll see people go in their garden if they're growing spinach, and they're going to be yanking out the purslane because it's a weed, and so their spinach can grow. Little do they know that the purslane actually has more nutritional value than the spinach that they're trying to cultivate. You can hear sizzling a little bit.
This is going to be like a spinach artichoke dip.
Okay, yes. I don't know if you heard that, but think of this more of a spinach artichoke dip. You can see it's kind of wilting now. I'll turn down the heat just a little bit. And keep it moving. And so now, once this is all wilted, all we're going to do is add some cheese to it. You can add any type of cheese you want. Typically, a lot of recipes would call for a Monterey Jack. I like things a little spicier, so I'll go with a pepper jack cheese. A Swiss cheese would be a little too mild. It wouldn't have enough zing unless you like the mild cheese of this. You can see it's starting to wilt a little bit. Another 30 seconds or so on the heat. And now I didn't give any quantities of this because it's basically equal parts of purslane and your cheese. So if you're feeding just two people, this would be plenty. If you're feeding a group, you might want to get a lot more purslane and a lot more cheese. Okay, it's getting there. But you want to get this wilted down pretty well. Turn a dark green color. So in the meantime, I'll open up the pepper jack. Okay. See, I had about this much purslane. I'll put about the same amount of the pepper jack cheese in there. And what we're going to put it on, either these mini thin crackers Just any kind of crackers you like. Triscuits work very well too, the Triscuit crackers. What's nice about this, I mean, this time of year, this weekend, you might be having neighbors over, family over, just because we're all at home, in the backyard. And you can make this, and then you can serve this appetizer, and then most people love it. And they'll ask what it is. You can just tell them, oh, you're eating weeds. So now you add the cheese to it. And all you do is keep it on the heat till all the cheese melts around the purslane, and you're done. Now heat just a little bit, and we're going to use this as a dip. And if you like a little more cheese, here's what it's looking like now. You can add a little more cheese. I like to go a little heavier on the purslane. Like I said, the purslane has a slightly sour taste to it. So if you just add a lot of cheese, you're going to just taste cheese. It'll taste like cheese and crackers, and what fun's that? But if you do this, you get a nice, that's about the right consistency, if you can see that. A lot of green in there.
Here's your crackers, honey.
Thank you. Turn off the heat. And you can either have your guests dish it out themselves, or you can pre-put it on here. Like I said, I like to have it a little heavy on the purslane so you can actually taste the sour taste of the purslane. And they're great. The nice thing about this is you're limited on time of year you can do this. Purslane comes up toward the end of June. By the end of July, it'll be gone. So this is kind of the month of July appetizer.
You can freeze it.
That's true. If you like it that much, it does freeze well. So you can freeze your purslane and have it for later in the year. Have it as a Christmas snack. Oh, I'm sorry. It is really good. And it's healthy for you. Like I said, you're getting your omegas and you're getting your iron. Again, the FDA also has a website for nutritional value of weeds. So if you're a stickler, you really want to know what's in this, how much vitamin A, vitamin E, vitamin K, you can go there and find that out. One more. So, does anybody have any questions on the purslane while I eat this? No one? Pretty straightforward. Like I said, I'll put this on our Facebook, the recipe at the end. So the next thing, let's see, let me put this over here. That will be gone by this evening, I'll tell you. Purslane. Next, we're going to work on a sorrel soup. And you're thinking, why would you want to eat soup in the summertime? Well, one reason, you have to make the soup when wood sorrel is available. Second, you can freeze the soup. Third, you can freeze the wood sorrel to make it in the fall. And the soup is, you can make it cold. So put some ice cubes in it. It'll be a cold soup. Not quite as good as when it's hot, but you can eat the soup cold. So, pretty simple. Wood sorrel, if you're not familiar with it, called sour grass. Now, when we bring this to the camera, you're going to look at the leaves, and most people, when they see this, they go, oh, that's clover. And no, it's wood sorrel. Wood sorrel has heart-shaped leaves. Clover has oval-shaped leaves. So if you go out in your backyard and you look at clover, like the white clover, you'll see they have a kind of an oval-shaped leaf. Wood sorrel, it's definitely a heart. So, can we get this close to the camera? It also has little yellow flowers on it. The flowers close up in the evening, so you really can't see the flowers. Let's see, can they see some of the heart-shaped leaves on there? Oh, I think, yeah, that's a good shot. Heart-shaped leaves. Put one in your mouth and you'll taste some lemony, a lemony taste. There's another thing about a lemony taste plant. If you're hiking in the woods and you happen to see wood sorrel, and you take a few of these heart-shaped leaves and munch on them, that sour taste tends to rejuvenate you. Now, there's no caffeine or anything in it, but eating something lemony seems to give you a little boost of energy. So keep that in mind if you're hiking or walking around and kind of feeling dragging. Take a few of these and you're going to taste definitely a lemony taste. So you get the wood sorrel, and recipe is pretty simple.
I have a comparison. I have a comparison.
You pot, and the recipe here, well, I'll just go over the ingredients. Like I said, that
No, you show them the difference?
Yes, if you can. We're going to show you the difference between clover and wood sorrel. Now that is clover.
Sorry.
No. That is wood sorrel. I'll go back to clover. Gotta find out where the camera is.
There.
There's the camera. Clover, wood sorrel.
I can get them in the same place.
Now, when they're next to each other, you're going to go, they look nothing alike. But, okay, thank you. So, what you need for this is 1 to 2 cups of finely chopped leaves. You need 1 tablespoon of butter, 3 cups of chicken broth, half a tablespoon of flour, salt and pepper. That's all you need. Now, some recipes will call for some potatoes in there. So if you're a potato fan, you can peel some potatoes and put some potatoes in here.
Great carrots.
Carrots in there. There's all kind of variations. This is our basic recipe. In fact, it was from Monticello. Our good friend Thomas Jefferson used to like sorrel soup, so that's where we got this recipe. So we'll be patriotic since it's close to July 4th and stick with this. But anyways, we have our tablespoon of butter, and we're just going to put it in the pot. And we're going to turn on the heat again. Oh yeah. Just till we melt the butter. And we're going to use that melted butter to kind of saute the wood sorrel leaves. Now what we did, this is about 1 1/4 cups we did, someplace between 1 and 2 cups. And this is going to serve about 3 people. We just took the leaves. If you're lazy and you want to use the stems, you can do that, but if you just use the leaves, it's going to make your soup a little nicer to eat. So, again, we're just melting the butter. Okay, butter's all melted. Just going to put the sorrel in there and kind of saute it a bit. Again, just keep moving it around a little bit in the butter, keeping it on the heat. When we make this at some of our classes, we never have any leftovers, ever. So I said you can freeze it, but usually there's none left to freeze. Okay, the wood sorrel's turning to be almost an OD green in there as it kind of wilts. So we're going to turn down the heat a bit on that. And what we're going to do now is we have our sour cream, about a cup of sour cream, and we have our flour. And we're going to add our flour to our sour cream. And just mix it together. This is going to be our thickener. I'm making half the recipe. Usually I make double this amount. Keep it moving.
Add the chicken broth to it and then you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm going to add the chicken broth. Okay, and then you can salt and pepper to taste. You can always add a little more. I love pepper. Be enough. Keep that moving. Keep this mixed up. And once this is all mixed up, we're just going to add this in. Now, if you wanted to use a little more wood sorrel, you'll have a little more lemony taste and a little more thickness to your soup. Nothing wrong with that. This is giving you some basic guidelines to start with. And from there on, you can modify it. I'm going to simmer this for about 10 minutes. Going to get a little thicker, and you can ladle it out. Like I said, if you want to serve it cold, be a nice summer lunch. Just chill it a little bit. But if you want to freeze the wood sorrel and have this in the fall, especially if you add a little more flour, make it a little thicker. And again, you could add whatever else you wanted to this to enhance it. But this is the basic recipe that Thomas Jefferson liked, so that's why we have it here. So, these are all things you can make at home. I'm sure you have purslane growing in the cracks of your driveway or in your garden or in your flower beds. Wood sorrel, same area. They're usually right around the edges of woods. Again, just words on collecting. If you've been fertilizing your yard, you probably won't have any of the wood sorrel around or the purslane, so that shouldn't be a problem. But you don't want to be collecting where you've been fertilizing. If you just bought your house, I am not sure if the old owner fertilized. I'd wait about a year. You don't want to collect around railroad tracks. The railroads have a special permission from the government to use a defoliant to keep the weeds off their tracks, and it's very similar to Agent Orange, what they used in the 70s in Vietnam. So you want to probably stay away from the railroad tracks. But other than that,
Question.
you got a question? Great.
Is it safe to eat wood sorrel that has purple flowers? Redwood sorrel, for that matter.
I've only seen the yellow flowers. That's the only one I'm familiar with. I'd have to do more research on that. So, in fact, I've never seen any with the purple flowers. So I'm not an expert on it, so I'm not going to even venture to give my opinion on that. But I will look it up after this, and I'll probably put it in a post. Thanks for the question. I like getting things that I don't know about. It gives me a chance to learn new stuff. That leads me to another thing. If you're unsure of something, don't take a chance. There are very few poisonous things out there. And a lot of times when they say a plant is not edible, it doesn't mean you're going to keel over dead. It means it's going to give you a stomach ache. It might not agree with you. I mean, there are some plants that will kill you over dead. You know, poison hemlock, those type things. But for the most part, you know, just not agree with you, get you sick, upset stomach, and things like that. But if you're not sure, 100% sure, pass over, ask someone, get a book, look it up on the internet in at least 3 places. I just don't take one place because, believe it or not, everything on the internet isn't true at every site.
Adam asked if she could have been talking about red clover.
Could have been red clover. Thank you. Yes, it could be red clover. Now, red clover, it almost looks purple to me, the flowers. If you look at a red clover leaf, it'll have a white outline in the center of the green leaves, and they're usually much bigger. Now, red clover is a blood purifier if you make a tea from the red clover heads. Even more, tastes a lot better if you pick the heads of the red clover, dip them in a pancake batter, and put them in hot oil and fritter them. They taste delicious. You can never pick enough of them. So, and you're going to say, well, how healthy is that? I mean, yes, the red clover is good for you, but now you're eating fried food. I'll say it's a wash because they taste so good. But she might be talking about the red clover. I'm glad you brought that up. It's very possible.
Wendy's saying no, it's violet sorrel.
Violet sorrel, okay. See, so I'm going to have a good time to look at that. But around Cleveland here, never saw any of that. We always have this wood sorrel with the yellow flowers. So that's all I'm really familiar with. Oh, it is definitely. Okay.
She just posted that.
Thank you, Wendy. Did you happen to know, Wendy, is it edible? My gut feel is, since it's so close to wood sorrel, it is, but I'm not going to say that out loud.
All parts of the plant are edible.
All parts of the plant are edible. There's your answer. Then yes, it is edible. That's what's good about having a little community like this. You can share information and people come up with things, and I learn stuff every time. It's going to be ready to eat pretty soon. Spoon. So anyways, I don't know if you can see this, if I can tip it over. That's what it looks like. Again, I like thicker soup, so you can add a little more flour, or there's also something called garum gum powder. That's also a thickener. And oh, this is good stuff. It's got a lemony taste, definitely lemony taste. A lot of lemony taste. This is good. My recommendation is add more wood sorrel to it because that's the thicker part. It really tastes good. Okay. You know what my bedtime snack's going to be tonight? So these are 2 plants you can eat. Let's see. I did look up one more thing you can use with the first one we looked at, and that's purslane. They called it salted pickled purslane. And it was pretty easy. All you need is a cup of the purslane. Now this is the first one that we went to. Remember, this is the one that grows in the cracks of the driveway. Little red stem. I'll post this also. All you need is a cup of the purslane flowers, salt, and some red chili flakes. And this recipe says simply place the purslane in a small bowl, add the salt, massage it into the leaves. Add the chili flakes, toss it together, and let it sit for 45 minutes. Add a little bit of water, I guess, to wash some of that away because the chili flakes and the salt actually get into the purslane. And then wrap it in a towel and roll it in a long sausage to dry it off real good and serve it directly. It's pretty simple. But I'm sure with this you're going to be getting the taste of the lemony from the purslane, the salt, which is always tastes good, and the chili flakes are going to make it a little spicy. So we're going to have the neighbors over tomorrow, so this is going to be one of the things I'm going to be serving. So Again, there's a lot of things. What you can do is go on Google, put in the word Purslane, the plus sign, find all kind of recipes you can make. A lot of the purslane they're saying to add to egg omelets. You're gonna find quite a few of that. Just cut it up, dice it up fine, add it to egg omelets. So again, are there any other questions about anything with plants this time of year or anything in general before we close out?
I was asked if you need to blanch anything before you freeze it. I have not.
The answer is I have not. Okay. I'm glad I have my backup here because Cheryl's with the canner and the freezer and the blancher of the outfit here. And make sure you label everything. I say that in every class if you've ever been in my classes. I say when you put together survival kits, what's the first thing you need? And I say the label maker. So, anything else, anyone? Okay, if not, just to go over the classes coming up. Oh, we are having, I did not mention this, but we are having 2 classes in August that seem I'm getting a lot of interest in. Just want to let you know about them. One is our moonshine making class, and that's only going to be a half-a-day class. So you'll be on a for everything from A to Z to make real Tennessee moonshine.
When is the homesteading class?
Homesteading classes, there will be in November. We have those, I believe it's the second week in November. And the homesteading classes they start on a Thursday, and you can take days, or you can take 1 or 2 of the classes, or 3, or as many as you want. They're priced individually, and they're priced as a group. But on Thursday morning of November, when we do this, we're going to be doing sausage making. Thursday afternoon, it'll be pickles, butter, and vinegar making. All day Friday is going to be soap making. We start in the morning with the lye and animal fat and make soap just like Annie Clampett on the Beverly Hillbillies, if anybody remembers that, did. And then in the afternoon, we're going to go with vegetable oil and lye to make a more of what they call fancy soaps. But it's all with the old-fashioned way. On Saturday, we're going to do in the morning canning. We're going to can meat, we're going to can vegetables, and we're going to can fruit. That's the morning. And in the afternoon, we do candle making, candle dipping, candle making, everything you want to know about how to make candles at home, wicks, different waxes. You'll be a candle expert. And on Sunday, in the morning, we do winemaking, and you get a winemaking kit to take home, and you know how to make wine. And we'll be making some when you leave. And in the afternoon, we do cheese making, and we make 2 kinds of cheeses, mozzarella, and we'll make a hard cheese. And it's usually either a sharp cheddar or Colby, one of those we'll make. So those are the homesteading classes. The other class in August, though, we're having is what I'm calling a bug out bag challenge, and this is going to be a weekend down in southern Ohio where you would bring your bug out bag, and I'm sure most of you know what a bug out bag is when you have all your survival gear, and you're actually going to be living out of your bug out bag, testing your equipment, testing your skills. We'll have some additional classes during that weekend, like lock picking and different things like that. And we'll have some events going on to even tax your skills a little more. This is not going to be a capture your flag. It's not going to be a play army game. This is about testing your skills and testing your equipment. So it's going to be, you're going to find out how good your equipment is and how good your skills are, and if you think everything works like it should. So it's going to be a good, safe environment where you can allocate that time to see if your bug out bag is really what you think it is. And that's going to be a pretty good class. So that's going to be toward the end of August. Again, it's all on the website, survivalschool.com. Anything else on the thing? Well, thank you for joining us. Appreciate it. And we're going to be back here 2 Thursdays from now. Don't have a topic picked out yet, so if you'd like to for us to cover something, please write in or drop me an email at tom@survivalschool, and we'll see if we can cover that. So thank you very much. And this weekend, I challenge you, go out and make some wood sorrel soup or some Purslane Appetizer. Thanks a lot. Hope to see you next 2 Thursdays from now.